Every great story begins with a risk. For Lisa Tran, that risk was walking away from a safe, stable career in pharmaceuticals and stepping into the unknown. What started as a bold leap of faith soon grew into something extraordinary.
During that time, I was fully booked because I was also doing my job as a pharmacist. So I was getting a lot of inquiries and I was rejecting a lot of people. I realized that I actually do have leads coming through, so maybe I could actually capitalize off this. It was the turning point.
Lisa built an education business that reshaped how students prepared and learned using YouTube, not just to teach, but to innovate the way education could be delivered.
Started creating content back in 2015. YouTube has been a very powerful engine in both of my businesses. It's where I get my...
And just when it seemed like she had reached her peak, Lisa took another leap, moving across the world to London, not to escape, but to chase fresh perspective, new motivation, and a life shaped by her own design.
I just wanted a little bit more spice in my life in some ways. And my business is all online anyway. I could work from anywhere in the world.
Join us as we dive into Lisa's journey on the Midweek Motivation Podcast, where we uncover powerful stories, practical tools, and fresh perspectives to help you grow, lead, and stay motivated. I'm your host, Neale. Let's dive in. When did you first realize the traditional or safe path wasn't for you?
I realized that the traditional path wasn't right for me when my boss wouldn't let me take leave.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened there?
So basically, I was dating a boy overseas and I really wanted to go see him. And so I put in my leave request. It got rejected. I got really pissed off because I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm a good employee. I feel like I've done my time. To her credit, fair enough. It was during a busy season of the year. So I can understand why she wanted me around.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there was a part of me that just didn't love the fact that I didn't have control over my time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was essentially the catalyst for me quitting pharmacy, which is what I did. I was a pharmacist for all but 11 months at that point.
Yep.
And yeah, I quit and then flew overseas to
Wow.
this boy. It didn't work out, but it led me to where I am now.
Okay. Now, follow-up question to this one. Now, as a manager of your own company, CEO of your own company, would you share that same, I guess, opinion or reflection now? If you're going through a busy period, would you allow your employees to take time off?
Oh, that is a juicy question. I think the way that I work is slightly different. So I don't have any employees in my business, but I work with contractors.
Okay.
And so the way that we work, particularly leading into a busy period, is I'll basically bring us all into a meeting and I'll double check to see, hey, everyone, this is what I'm thinking. This is the strategy. This is the campaign we're thinking of launching. I need to know, like, are you going to be available to push through for this period? And usually it's a yes, because these conversations happen months in advance, which is great. That's something I've learned over time, to give a lot of notice, because then people have got more of that control over their time. And so, yeah, I think to answer your question, it is a no, but it is slightly different in that.
You find out ahead of time if
Exactly.
they need to take leave.
Yeah.
Yep. Amazing. Well, Lisa Tran, thanks so much for being on the podcast today. Tell me about yourself, especially for the audience who don't know you. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Lisa. I was a pharmacist for all but 11 months, and now I have basically built two businesses. The first business was a tutoring company. That's what I moved into full-time after I quit pharmacy, because I had done tutoring all throughout university, realized I really enjoyed it, and realized I was kind of okay at it. And so moved into that full-time. Then it sort of blew up into a business where I then hired a team of over 35 tutors. We looked after hundreds of students. Teachers throughout Australia were using my YouTube videos inside their classrooms. And so I built that for about 8 years, sold the business, and now I'm a business coach. So I specifically help tutors with their businesses now.
Fantastic. Yeah, wow, what a journey, and I can't wait to dive into this more. So let's just wind back to your university days. Actually, let's get before that. Did you know beforehand that you were going to go into pharmacy before you went to university?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, but my parents knew what they wanted me to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so I essentially followed their recommendations because I had no sense of self.
Yep.
I literally just had no idea, which direction I
Yep.
should go in. So I thought, okay, well, my parents say that pharmacy, it's a prestigious career, it's a good money, etc. And when I was in uni, I didn't like it that much, to be fair, but I thought maybe studying pharmacy is a little bit different than actually doing it in real life.
Yep.
So I pushed through with pharmacy for the full 5 years. And then in that 11 months, when I was practicing as a pharmacist, that's when it really solidified that it just wasn't the right career path for me.
Okay. And then when you decided to leave pharmacy, was it like kind of an instant decision based on, the leave component? Or was it like, do I need to go find somewhere else for doing pharmacy? What was your mindset at that point to be like, to say no?
It was something that had been on my mind for quite some time, especially because as I was studying pharmacy, I was building my tutoring business on the side. Except I didn't see it as a business. I just saw it as this is just my side gig that I'm...
Pocket money, right?
Exactly. Pocket money for, my brunch dates, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So I didn't see it as a necessarily pathway that I could go down on. But I think as I was doing pharmacy and showing up to my shifts, doing the 9 to 5, waking up to an alarm, going home after it was dark, I think all those things started to really grate on me. Just being indoors all day as well, not having autonomy over my time. And then in contrast, when I was doing tutoring, because I was doing both that year, I could dictate my own schedule. I could dictate my own hourly rate. I could dictate who I was actually interacting with in terms of my customers, deciding who I actually wanted to work with. And so that really helped to juxtapose the two against each other. And so towards the end of that 11 months, I was already starting to think maybe this could actually be a thing.
Yeah.
Because during that time, I was fully booked, but that was because I was also doing my job as a pharmacist. And so I was getting a lot of inquiries and I was rejecting a lot of people.
Yep.
So I realized that I actually do have good traffic. I do have leads coming through. So maybe I could actually capitalize off this.
Yep.
And with that thought in mind, it was the turning point when I realized that I couldn't actually go overseas to see the boy I liked.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then so when you did change, how did your family react to that, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. They were confused. They didn't understand. But I think they knew that I was quite headstrong and that I just didn't like pharmacy. So I think they'd also seen, because at this point in time, I was still living at home as well. So when I was doing the tutoring, it'd be students coming to my parents' house. So they saw aspects of the tutoring. And I think that really helped. But it only really converted them, I would say, when about a year in, I hosted a workshop, an in-person workshop. 70 students turned up. I rented out like a lecture hall at a university. And it got filled out. And my mum came along. And then when she could see that, wow, like, holy shit, actually, this is what my daughter's creating. I think that was the turning point for her.
That's fantastic. Like 70 people. That's, it's a lot of people in one room if you think about it. But when you compare that to, say, 70 followers on Instagram, you think, oh, it's nothing, right?
100%. And honestly, when I was younger, I was so hard on myself. I'd be like, oh, I've only got 70 people. And I'd be like, okay, I need to keep pushing. Like, why can't I try and get 100 and try to get more? But actually looking back on it now, I'm like, damn, man, like, you're all right.
Absolutely. Have you always been competitive, or at least with yourself?
I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And where did you see that first kind of show up in your life, maybe childhood?
So I think I'm competitive because my mum used to put me in singing competitions as a kid. And I won a few of them, actually.
Yep.
But I think that set the standard for me to need to always win.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything less than a win is like it's not good enough.
Yep.
That's where that mentality has come from. But
Sure.
I had to work quite hard to sort of let that go.
Yeah. Because that's, I think, a good follow-up question where have you seen the pros and the cons of your competitiveness in your entrepreneurial days?
I think the competitiveness is really great. It's twofold, right? Like, I think that your greatest strengths are also your greatest weaknesses. And so I think there's a fine line in terms of leveraging your strength, but then when it goes too far, then it actually can be quite inhibiting. So I think competitiveness wise, I really like the fact that, you know, when I set goals for myself, I'm quite motivated to try to reach them.
Yep.
But in the past, I used to see things so black and white, like what I was just saying. Like, if I didn't get first, then everything else was a failure. So now instead what I do is I've implemented this 3-step goal system. It's like good, better, and best. And it's almost like, rather than so black and white of, yes, I hit this goal. Let's just say like $1 million in business. It's just like something that's always on social media, right? It's like you either hit it or you don't. And it's like you hit it, you're amazing, all the things with it, you're so validated, etc. Or you don't and you're a failure. So instead of something like that, now I'm like, okay, maybe like 600 is a good goal, or 600,000. 800 is a better goal, and then 1 million is the best goal.
Yep.
And it makes it a little bit more of a,
gives you more of like a step-by-step, you know, plan to get there, rather than just thinking this is the absolute end destination where it seems so far away. What's something that's more achievable that I can work towards?
Yeah, it's more realistic. And that way you're celebrating your successes as you go.
I like that.
As opposed to, you know, only looking at the end goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, nice. So, what were you tutoring at the time? Was it just like more university subjects, or was it a whole range?
I was tutoring specifically high school English.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So years 11 and 12. Yeah.
I think I definitely needed a tutor back then, 11, 12. It was definitely it was my least favorite subject. But it actually turned out in my HSC, it was my second best subject. It was ironic, I think. And now I write newsletters. So there you go.
Maybe it was just the content that you didn't enjoy.
I think so.
Or your teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the structure of it. So many problems with it.
Exactly. So you had this business for 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so did you always have a plan on selling eventually, or no? Okay. So what was your mindset then? What were the challenges you faced on selling that first business?
As I was building the business, I feel like I'm somebody who's not necessarily like a visionary. You've got your people like Steve Jobs as a classic example, who kind of like is able to see into the future and sort of create something that hasn't been born yet. Whereas I think I am much more of a step-by-step type of person. So a goal becomes unlocked only when I am one step sort of away from it.
Yep.
Yeah. So when I started out in this tutoring business full time, my goal was literally just to get myself booked out. And then that happened in 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I was like, okay, well, what now? I feel really bad turning people away. So then that's when I started hiring tutors. And then before I knew it, I had this team of tutors working for me.
Yep.
So it was quite gradual. And then I would say about maybe like 4 or 5 years in, I sort of lost steam because I felt like I had done everything I wanted to do in the business and I wasn't sure where to go next. I didn't even know that selling the business was an option, to be honest. And so that's actually when I started to feel quite stuck. And I also at the same time was feeling like I had outgrown the business in some ways.
Yep.
For example, I was no longer tutoring myself. I was the CEO, I was the manager. And so I felt like the work wasn't as rewarding as it was when I was working one-on-one directly with the students. But beyond that, because they were high school students, I also felt that with me getting older, the conversations weren't the same anymore. And so...
Is that because you reckon the age gap was increasing?
Exactly.
Yep.
The age gap was increasing. And so I thought, okay, well, this is not as rewarding as it used to be. And it took me a good 2-3 years, I think, of just stumbling around, doing some spiritual deep dives into myself and what I wanted out of life. And like, in many ways, I had been successful, at least to my younger self. My 18-year-old self would have looked at me when I was like 30 and be like, damn, she's made it. But then when I was actually there, I was like, oh, this isn't as fulfilling as I would like for it to be, and it doesn't feel as aligned anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took quite some time, and then I think conversation after conversation, it got to a point where I realized, oh, I can actually try to sell this.
Mm.
So from the point of when I realized that to when I actually sold, it was probably another 2 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
of just, okay, I'm figuring out that I might want to sell. How do I start setting myself up for it? And then eventually, okay, yeah, I'm going to sell. And then finding the broker to help me, and then finding the right person to actually buy the business.
Yeah. And then did you already have an idea of what you wanted to do after? Or was this just plan to sell and then kind of live off, those rewards for a bit and then figure it out?
So I am a little bit risk adverse, actually. I think I can take risks. Obviously, that's why I'm in business, but there's still part of me that does love safety. And so I actually started my current business, Tutor Boss, the coaching business, before I sold Lisa Study Guide.
Oh, right. Okay. So you're running two businesses.
I was running both. Yep. Yeah. So I was trying to build up my coaching just so that I could have some income coming through.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm glad I did it. It was hard balancing both, but building the second business, it was immediately rewarding, actually, because I was working now with people who were adults, who were fellow entrepreneurs. So obviously there was like a lot that we could connect on automatically. Yeah. And I went back to my roots of teaching, which I really enjoy.
Oh, great. So it's good that you really know like what you are passionate about. Just found another avenue where you can continue living with that passion, but also scale it as well. Yeah. I think it's very common these days where now the next step for entrepreneurs is to, how can I coach someone else, into doing what I was doing?
Yeah.
And same with PT, like there's only so many hours a day I can coach one-on-one or even group classes, but then at the same time, I'm like, that's a lower ticket option. One-on-one is obviously the high bit, and then you got online coaching, but it's the same thing. You run out of hours during the day, and some busier weeks, it's harder to keep the energy nice and high. Like, coming from a PT background, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
But then, the next step would be trying to, well, for a lot of coaches, is to coach others. Yeah. So that's really cool that you kind of went on that path in that direction. So how did you find your leadership skills? Was this something that you had natural talent for already, or did you have to learn a lot of mistakes along the way?
Man, I was not a good leader.
Okay, tell me.
I have learnt so much along the way, actually. And I guess it's a good thing now because I think because leadership didn't come so naturally to me, I really had to make all the mistakes and figure out my leadership style, which now makes it easier for me to teach someone because I know how much they're struggling with it. I made all the mistakes, micromanaging, firing people without giving them notice, like all of it. I have done it.
Okay.
And I think the reason why I didn't really have natural talent for it was I just don't think I've ever really been in those positions before. And also being in pharmacy being in the workforce for only 11 months, like I never had that structure and really saw my own manager leading me. Like it was just too short of a time for me to really glean anything. So what was the question?
Just your leadership skills, how's that evolved over time?
Yeah.
What does it look like today now that you've known the mistakes? What is maybe like one or two things that you've like really focused on now, so that way you can keep your retention of your contractors?
Yeah. So I would say my leadership style is I lead with trust. So I'm very much about, okay, I believe in you to make this happen. It's very much about empowerment and giving people autonomy.
Yes.
Yeah. Because then I think they rise up to the challenge, and it's actually really nice to see it happen. The second thing that I really believe in as well, I think it's just treating your people like actual people.
Yeah.
Not treating them like a number, not treating them like someone who you're just paying to get something in return. Like, it's not transactional. I think for me, and maybe this is just like part of my personality as well, like I quite like people. And so I think it's a strength of mine to harness that and actually be invested in my team's lives and who they are as people, in their hobbies, and really just follow up with whatever's going on with them. Because I think if you've got a solid relationship, if you've got a solid relationship, the work will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you want to be treated the same way as if how you would be treated, right? If you were in their shoes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how, like, with the outsourcing that I do with both my YouTube videos and the podcasting, it's having that trust in them. Like, no one's gonna create it the exact same way as how you would do it.
Yeah.
So I had to, when I first started doing that, I was like, okay, I have to let myself be very open-minded, and just like, I'll analyze it, but not be too negative. It's like, hey, what I really like about this, and how can I obviously provide feedback that's constructive.
Exactly.
In a way.
Yeah. And even like, I will overlook tiny things because I just don't think they're worth it.
Yeah.
So for example, if I'm reviewing like a marketing campaign and there's like spelling mistakes and things like that, old me, the micromanaging me, would have been like, okay, well, now I don't trust you. Like, why didn't you get it right 100%? But it's just not. It's not feasible. Like,
no.
Sure, we make mistakes too.
All the time.
Literally all the time. And so, I think I let a lot of things slide so long as the overall is really solid.
Yeah.
And, we're progressing, we're moving forward. I think that's what matters.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Hey, just a quick announcement before we return to the podcast. If you're someone who's been feeling a bit stuck lately, maybe you're switching careers, rebuilding your routine, or just trying to get your life together, I get it. That's exactly why I write the Midweek Motivation newsletter, where every week I share real, honest thoughts on training, mindset, and the messy process of figuring life out. Especially for guys like us, we're in our 20s and 30s, just trying to get ahead in our careers, fitness, and performance. It's short and it's personal, and it might just give you the push you need during the middle of the week when it's least motivating. You can subscribe using the link in the show notes below, or go to substack.com and search up Midweek Motivation. All right, let's get back to the podcast. So you mentioned burnout as one of the challenges you face as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that and what strategies do you put in place now to prevent that?
I used to feel overwhelmed all the time. One, because I think the business world is really noisy. Like, you're getting people telling you all sorts of things, and different things work for different people. So someone might tell you, oh, you definitely should do paid ads. Someone else might tell you, oh, email marketing really worked well for me. And then someone else might be like, oh, but I went from 0 to 100 followers, like in 100,000 followers in 10 days or something like that on social media. And so I think there was a point in time when I was just trying to do everything. And I think I see this in a lot of my clients as well, especially the ones who they're not starting out, but they've maybe been in business for, say, a few years. They're finding their groove. They're starting to scale, but they don't have that certainty in themselves yet. They don't have the confidence in their own judgment. And so when you're not there yet, you're kind of just looking at everyone else and going, okay, what's worked for them? Let me do that too. Like, what's worked for this person? Let me try and do that too. And so that noise just adds to the confusion, the sense of overwhelm, and then eventually to burnout. And so I think for me, prioritization and just being laser focused on, literally every year I'll choose like 1 or 2 key goals that I'm going to focus on for that year. And I just get into it, and that's it. And if other things pop up along the way, which it will, you'll meet somebody and they'll be like, oh, this thing works really well for me. And you're like, past me would have been like, okay, let me like try to do this right now because I don't want to miss out.
Yep.
But now me is like, you know what? It's a good idea. Is it aligned with what I want to do this year? Yes or no? Most times it's no. I'll bookmark it. I'll bench it. And then I can always come back to it later. And then the second thing, honestly, is realizing that I can leverage people. I think a lot of business owners are successful in the beginning because they do everything themselves.
Yes.
And you're very good at it. That's why you've been able to scale, right? But then I think it leads to you thinking that you're the only one who can do it.
Yep.
And then that's what pushes you to burnout, because you're trying to do all these different things rather than actually building a team, delegating, trusting others, and then being able to offload all of that work off yourself.
Yeah, it's quite a hard balance to work hard so you can keep your business growing, and also now if you've got people also working for you, for them to be paid, and then but not to the point where you're so overworked that, other stuff happens into your personal life, is affected by that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there a couple of times, and I have a much better approach to it now. Doesn't mean I don't have hard weeks. Like, this is definitely a busy week, coming back from holiday and then cramming everything into the week, and the weekend. But I know when, okay, I'm losing the fire, to keep going away, or maybe I'm getting sick more, or those are my signs and symptoms.
Yeah.
Do you have something similar?
Yeah, very similar. And I think it takes time for you to really understand your body and the signals that it's telling you as well. Because initially, like, you just ignore it, but then that's when you get to burnout, right? When literally your body can't handle it anymore. I actually had that specific thing happen to me when a few years ago, when I was about to sell the business. Actually, not only was I trying to sell the business, but my partner and I had just bought our home. I was also buying an investment property as well. So it was just like lots of things at once, but I was like, I can handle this. And I think that's like a flaw that I've had, of like, I can handle anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure many of us
I can relate to that.
Right?
Absolutely.
But actually, I was starting to get, so I have eczema, and my eczema really flared up I'd never seen anything like it before. Like, it was my entire body. I'd be sitting at my desk just like scratching all day, every day. And I couldn't understand why. And I was trying to figure out everything. I was like, is it the pollen in the air? Is it this new house that we've just moved into? Is it the carpets?
Yep.
What is it? And I was looking at everything except looking internally at myself. And I was so disconnected from my body that it was actually my partner, Josh, who said one day, oh, what if it's actually your stress that's causing this eczema?
Yep.
And it actually was the stress. So I focused on just getting my stress under control, and then all of the eczema went away.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I find it really hard when you get into burnout to come out of that. At first, it's like, okay, you give yourself a couple of days rest, and then you try to get back into it. And this is from my experience. Like, but yeah, it's like you're trying to fight the resistance. You haven't actually gone deep enough to let yourself really come out of that. It's like you're really trying to push. It's okay, I've had my rest now. I need to get back into it. And then it just becomes so unmotivating and discouraging to keep redoing. You think about, oh, am I doing the right thing? And it really takes time. I think my last one took a fair few weeks and a couple months to
100%
to actually come back to a normal person again.
Yeah, like, the more you push yourself, the longer the recovery time is going to be, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think the hard thing when you're in it is you don't know what a normal state of just being is, because you're so used to that level of, say, like, fogginess or tiredness. And so recalibrating and like bringing yourself back up to what is actually, it's not normal for you at that point in time.
No.
But it really takes time to refine that new normal.
Definitely. Like, I would be not wanting to get out of bed. I would, if I wasn't coaching, I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna lie on the bed, go for a nap, try and delay of getting up again as much as possible. But yeah, well.
How are you feeling now?
Oh, great. I will say this week I've had less sleep overall, and it's affected by coming back on the trip because we had a late flight and the trains weren't working, and then I was like, oh shit, it's 1:45 and I have work at 6 a.m. But training is a big part of my life, and if I'm really not in the mood for training, it's just moving my body in some way. So that is like, okay, crucial element there. Nutrition plays a huge part in making sure that I'm feeling good, because it's literally fueling me for everything, for training, for working, just, feeling good in general. So those are two things there. And then spending time with the people around me, even if it's not a whole lot. So for example, like having date night once a week, like that's in the calendar. And if it's not, and we just say, oh, we're going to do this, but if it's not in the calendar, we're both like, oh, something's come up.
Yeah.
So that, or if it's like, getting coffee in a short break with a mate from work, like those are the small things that like keep me going all the time. Especially through those busier weeks where, there's not a lot of time for me, for example. What are some of the like habits or rituals that you have now to prevent you from doing that?
Same as you, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's not let me do all the stuff I need to do, and then I will do the dates, and then I'll do my training. It's actually the opposite. It's like you got to carve out time for yourself and make it no excuses.
No excuses.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, same thing. So I'll train 4 times a week, and it's like I just go. I don't even think about it. Like, you just got to do it. I will try to eat well as well, and I always make time to see friends.
Yeah.
And spend time with family, because for me personally, that's actually when I fully switch off. I think the hard thing about being a business owner is like you're always thinking about business.
Yeah. Even when you're taking time off on holiday.
Yeah. You might see an ad somewhere and be like, oh, that's a really cool ad. Like, you know, like I really like the marketing behind that or something.
Or suddenly you're like, oh shit, I forgot to do this before I know.
Yeah, there's that too. And so I find that when I'm actually with people, I fully switch off because I'm so present with them.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. And it forces me not only to get my socials in, but forces me to switch off, which then just means that when I do finally come back to the desk, I'm just a lot more sharper.
Yeah, definitely. Content though, how do you find, like, what do you do to fit in content around your day? Because for me, it's like literally a full-time job, and I'll go through phases where, okay, I'm doing really well, being consistent.
Yeah.
And then some weeks I've like days I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, totally get you. There are definitely days I'm like, oh, I can't do filming today. I just can't.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just energetically not up for it that day for whatever reason. Maybe you didn't sleep well or whatever it is. And so in the past, I used to push through. Whereas now, kind of going back to what we were saying about listening to your body,
yeah,
I do just sort of trust what my body is saying, and I'll postpone content shooting if it's just not the right day for it.
Yep.
What works for me though is batch filming. So I'd much rather just try to do it all at once rather than trying to do things like day by day. Honestly, I think it is really challenging doing content, especially if you're only by yourself. It hinges on your own intrinsic motivation and your own creativity and inspiration for ideas. So I think it's cheating in a way, but I have a team that helped me. And so I've got a social media marketer who helps to draft all of my content. She'll write all the captions, the scripts.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And so I just need to show up and do the work, which is great. So that's why for anybody who creates content, especially if it's not like, you know, you vlogging or something like that, because my stuff is educational.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got my team that can support me with it.
Yeah, you're outsourcing the stuff that it's going to take you too much time to do, or maybe it's just like not what you're great at in terms of skill wise. As an entrepreneur and as a coach, like there's so many skills you're going to learn, marketing, sales, and all that. Like it's hard to really keep them all growing at the same rate. And when you're trying to trying to sell to people, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the good thing about having people is that that's their zone of genius. Like they can focus on it. They get really good at it. And you're like, oh, I didn't ever think about saying that actually. I love that. So yeah, that's sort of how I stay on top of things. But I'm not going to lie, like even with the team, I still fall behind.
There's always more you can do, right? So it's just like, I think with content, there's no end destination, right? Like,
it's not.
No.
And I think it's gotten to a point where I know they say consistency is key, and I do believe that as well. But it has gotten to a point, to be honest, when it's say with my YouTube videos, sometimes we always try to do a video a week.
Yep.
But if we can't, then I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. It's okay if we miss this week.
Exactly.
It's okay if we only publish 2 videos this month.
Because the quality and the bar to entry to making great content is so high now.
So high.
Like it used to be just, okay, be consistent, upload once, twice a week. Now it's like, you gotta do it every day, and you gotta be setting targets for every video, try and get the hook right and everything like that.
Thumbnail.
Oh, I hate thumbnails.
You gotta, it's so hard. You gotta have a call to action. You gotta have like the B-roll flying on screen, and there's so much to it.
Exactly. So for the audience who doesn't know, we actually met at a Ali Abdul's part-time YouTuber Academy meetup in London last year, and we were both fresh coming off the boat, you could say. So I guess when did you start content, and what made you decide to show up to this event?
Started creating content back in 2015.
Yeah.
Ages ago for my first business, the tutoring business. And that's because I saw a gap in the market. There weren't any tutors out there who were creating content.
Actually, yeah, I still, I mean, to be fair, none of that's targeted towards me, but I don't see anyone else doing that.
Yeah, like HSE English or something along those lines. Yeah, there's not that many. And so if you're doing HSE English, then yeah, definitely there's a market there. So yeah, I started doing YouTube back in 2015. And yeah, back then I could smash out a video a week. They weren't very long. It's like 5 minutes long max. I was just talking to the camera, nowhere near that caliber that it is now.
Yeah.
And I would still be growing. And so YouTube has been a very powerful engine in both of my businesses. It's where I get my highest quality leads come
Oh,
through.
really? Okay.
Yeah, so I really love YouTube as a marketing channel because I think you just build really great audiences who actually value you and trust you because they sit down and actually watch content that's for a long period of time. And then how I actually ended up showing up to this PTYA event was my accountability buddy inside the program. We took the program like 4 years ago, during COVID or something. He told me about it, and I'd literally just been in London for like a month or something. I was like, I want to make friends. I want to see people.
Yeah.
So then, I went to that park and met you there.
Yeah. So if we can backtrack a little bit then. So you moved to London. Legit, and a month later was the event. What made you decide, you and your partner, to pack up the bags?
Yeah. Once I had sold my tutoring business, I had started the second business, and I think a part of me was like, I've kind of done this once. I love doing business and I'll do it again. But in a way, it was almost like the same. Like it's still creating business. And so I think I just wanted a little bit more spice in my life in some ways. Compound with that is that everybody around us was starting to get settled. So starting to talk about families, starting families. And so my partner and I, we're just not at that stage of life. And so I thought to myself, well, I'm kind of just sitting here watching other people sort of go in different directions in their lives. And I know that's not the direction that I want to go in, but what else should I be doing? And then we had actually traveled to Europe in 2022, I think, or 2023 now. And that's actually when we learnt that Josh, my partner, could actually find work here as a software engineer, which he does. And so I think that was the turning point for us.
Just opened the possibility.
Yeah, we were like, oh shit. Like, can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
I've done it twice.
Yeah, I'm like, oh shit. Like he can actually get a job here and make a living out of being in London. And my business is all online anyway. So I could work from anywhere in the world.
That's great. Yeah.
And then in a year's time, we moved.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. We were, like a year leading up to it. It was just, the way it works with my partner's contract.
Yeah.
And like got to the point where I was, we're both ready for the next step. We've always grown up in Sydney all our lives. So it was time to go to Europe, and London was the key place that was like, all right, let's just go there. And I mean, from my own experience, I've loved it being a hub for travel and for meeting people. It's just like, yeah.
It's so different from Australia, right? It's so busy. There's always something happening.
Yep.
So many countries that are accessible for you within hours.
And cheap as well.
Yeah.
For the most part.
For the most part. Not London, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you find it, like, compared to Sydney? London and Sydney?
Yeah, I love both. And our plan is to move back to Sydney, when we're ready. So, like, a few years' time. But I don't know. I think London, there's so many different cultures living there as well. Like Sydney, we're getting a lot more, like I said, Asia demographic, people from New Zealand. Very occasionally we'll get, people from Europe, but they're just like there on a student visa. Whereas UK, you get people from all parts of UK, Europe, and South Africa. It's just like, I don't know, different work life as well. When I first arrived here, what I saw was that, people worked hard, but like, by 5 p.m. or whenever they're done from work, it's like, that's it. We'll go for a few beers. It's not what I do, but that's why it's like, okay, people have a balance in a way.
Yeah.
And there's always something to do, which I really liked. Any time of year, any day of the week, there's yeah, something you can do. Whereas, yeah, definitely in Sydney, it's a little bit different. But I mean, I've heard Melbourne is better for culture. I've only been there a couple of times briefly. So, 'cause
Yeah.
you're from Melbourne, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Come on down. Melbourne's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can move there though.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I just never know.
Yeah.
Give it a
fair.
try, maybe.
It's more chill than Sydney. You probably already had that before.
I think so. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I think we just have a bit more of a laid back culture.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm biased.
Yeah. Yeah. So what were the challenges you faced then when you moved here and trying to settle?
A lot of challenges. Yeah. More than I expected, actually.
Yeah, same.
Whew. But hey, character building stuff, right?
That's right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like when it rains, it pours. A few things happened that made it quite challenging. The thing is, even though they were super challenging, I think they've actually set me up for much greater success now, which I'm really grateful for. But going through all of that, it was really hard at the time. The first thing was I decided at that point in time that I would actually scale my team because it was exciting. I was growing my business. So I wanted to grow my team as a result. And so I had budgeted it that I was going to have all these outgoing expenses, but I just didn't realize it took longer for me to actually start recouping those expenses. So there were multiple months after moving to London when my business was actually in the negatives, which I had never experienced before.
Okay.
Back in Australia. And on top of that, you've just moved to a new country that's basically double the price of everything else that you're used to back at home.
Yep.
I don't know if you needed to, but I paid 6 months of rent up front.
Oh no, but most places did require that.
Yeah.
This place has been good.
Yeah. So that's a lot of money that's going out at one time. You're also just settling into a new place. You're buying furniture, you're like buying lots of new things. It was just a lot of money going out. And on top of that, we had our property back at home, our house. And so we thought we would rent it out so that we could at least cover some of the mortgage with us moving to London. But even that in itself had its own issues of our rental agent not doing his work. We don't need to go into details, but he was not it. And so our place was vacant for months on end.
Oh,
and
dear.
so I was also covering the mortgage on our house and not getting any subsidies back from that. And then on top of that, the investment property that I talked about, that also had its own issues where basically it might have gotten turned into a drug house. And
oh gosh.
Yeah, we had basically like another $20,000 go out just trying to repair that house.
Yep.
So it was just a lot of money going out. And having said that, I recognize that I'm still in a very privileged position, the fact that I even have these properties to begin with, that I've got this business that I can grow. But I think for me at that point in time, I'd just never been put under that type of pressure before.
Yeah.
And it really pushed me to up-level how I looked after myself during that period of stress. Yeah. So it probably took a good 9 months before things really settled down. But a year later, now here we are.
Exactly. Living our best lives.
Living our best lives. Yeah.
Closing out this podcast soon. What is coming up in your life at the moment that you're keen to share? This could be in business, it could be personal, kind of anything.
Ooh, what am I keen to share? I think what I've been really enjoying recently is just growing as a person, but also in business. I feel like business really pushes you to grow as a person, actually.
Yep.
And so I feel like I'm in a new area of business now where I'm continuing to scale my team. And circling back to what we said earlier about leadership, it's really forcing me again to up-level my own skills as a leader and then to pass on all of those learnings to my clients who are building their own businesses as well. And I just feel like I'm really grateful and I'm in this very sweet spot of enjoying my work and seeing how the things that I'm learning from it actually apply to my life as well. They come in hand quite synergistically.
Yes.
So that's what's keeping me really excited at the moment. You know, it's that personal development side of things. Although these days I don't read personal development books anymore. Like, I'm not as into it, but I feel like I'm just making micro changes in my life over time that seem to be working for me. So I have the Whoop.
I know I don't have that, just a Garmin.
You have Garmin? Yeah, yeah. So like things like the Whoop telling me my biological age.
Yep.
Oh no, my predicted health age.
Yep.
That's really interesting because now it's kind of making me go, oh, I feel like I should work on my cardio. And it's the next thing to make myself one level more fit. I guess that's the competitiveness side of me. Back out.
But in a good way, right? You're trying to, I guess, be the healthiest version of you, and just trying to grow it really, person, like you said. Yeah, like with you, I know you said you weren't really much of a visionary, but do you have a big, goal or vision for your current business?
Yeah, good question. I think if I had to pinpoint it, I think there's like lots of different ideas that are happening right now. I'd love to continue what I'm doing with the type of clients that I'm supporting. They're really awesome people. I feel very lucky to be working with the clients that I do work with.
Yep.
I'd love to continue working with my team as well to see how far we can grow this business. But in terms of future-wise, we're now starting to really leverage partnerships with key players inside the tutoring industry, which is really exciting. And so that just means a lot of like networking and building relationships. And so again, it circles back to what we're saying about like, ultimately, it's all about building relationships. And so that's what I'm really focused on. Right now, the business helps people from all over the world, from mainly the US, UK, and Australia. And so I think if we can just keep expanding our reach, keep expanding our impact, and help more people out there who are building these service-based businesses, I'll be really happy. But I don't have, a number in terms of like how much revenue or how many clients or even how much market share, any of that. I'm on the journey.
Yeah. I mean, that's
the journey.
Exactly, right? That's what we spend majority of the time on, The destination lasts for a brief moment.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Very wise words.
Oh, thank you. Do you have like a recent book read that you'd like to recommend to the audience?
Ooh.
Could be anything.
Oliver Burkeman's 4,000 Weeks.
I recommend that to a friend of mine recently. I really recommend that too.
That's a great book, right?
Yeah.
And I think it really ties in with what we were saying about a sense of overwhelm, because the book is all about how we actually have limited time. And 4,000 weeks is if you basically live up until 80, I think it is. You've got 4,000 weeks. And so rather than our culture and society that's constantly about the hustle and trying to be as productive as possible, it's actually just recognizing that, hey, like, you're actually going to die at some point. You actually have limited time. And so rather than trying to do everything, which creates that sense of overwhelm and burnout, actually just, it's okay to actually say no to things.
Yeah.
I've loved learning to say no to things, actually.
I'm still learning that. And I think I read the first chapter or two and I was like, I hate this guy. Why is he sounding like so truthful?
Yeah.
I'm not ready to accept it. But then got to the end, and I think it's a really powerful read for those who are looking to always grow constantly, right? Got to have time where we actually step back, recover, reflect, and then also just do something else without even thinking about, your normal life.
Yeah. What was your biggest takeaway from the book?
Being told that you can't do everything in this lifetime. And I think that makes everything more meaningful then, because you have to really prioritize what's actually important to you. Yeah. Like, you have all these ideas, maybe not all of them actually are effective. And like, that's what you test, especially in business, but like, you only have 24 hours a day, the same as everyone else. And just, I guess if it's not like really a hell yes, then maybe it's not worth actually going.
I think I really like that. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. And actually practicing that is so much harder.
Yeah. So I'm still learning that today.
Yeah. I think the one thing that's helped me recently, because sometimes when you're in a decision, like literally, this is a simple one, but I got invited to go watch a movie tonight. And I was like, oh, it'd be really nice to go. Like, it would be nice to see the movie. I'm interested in watching it. And I do want to see my friends, but I think there's a part of me that's like, oh, like, should I go? Should I not go? And then it was only when I thought about another thing that I'm like, yes, this is a hell yes, that contrast actually made me realize, okay, this is a no.
Yep.
Yeah. So saying no is hard, but I feel like it's a skill that we just need to like keep. It's a muscle that we need to keep flexing.
Definitely. Yeah. I started in complete opposite where I didn't really know what I was going to do in life. Didn't really have much of a purpose or vision or anything like that. So to really figure out what I wanted to do, I said yes to everything. So I can figure out what's actually what I like doing and why I spend my time. So now I need to step away from that. It's the yes to a no.
Yeah. Actually, that's a fair way of looking at it too. So and when you said yes to everything, did you feel like it was too much at any point in time?
Only got to a point where it was beyond my schedule to control or
Yeah.
maintain.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, being able to say no just means that you can start being laser focused on
Yep.
what it is that actually is meaningful to you.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Lisa, thanks so much for being on the podcast today. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram. I'm Lisa Tran. That's IMLISATRAN. I'm also on YouTube as Lisa Tran. And you can also find me at tutorboss.co, which is my coaching business.
Brilliant. Well, it'll all be in the description below, all the links and show notes. Thanks so much again for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure for you to join us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me and for asking the deep questions.
Oh, well, I try. Awesome. Thank you so much for listening to the Midweek Motivation Podcast. If you really like this episode, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating on Spotify or click that like button if you're watching this on YouTube. Don't forget, if you're interested in checking out the 0 to 1 merchandise, you can use the code CAM15 to get 15% off your order, and you'll be joining a community with people who are taking their first step in whatever venture they're in. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.